Today, we're going to see how the number 7 player in the world from last season takes down box spaces with Sui Lalu. How do you do it? What's the best approach? I guess we're going to find out. All seen this base or a similar base before, an extremely common one and actually surprisingly difficult for Sui Lalu. So boxes are a solid base style for Sui Lalu. If you didn't watch yesterday's video, by the way, please do go watch it. We had the same attacker doing attacks, but he was taking down ring bases, obviously much more toxic. But box bases provide a different challenge for Sui Lalu. If you're good with the army, you're kind of expected to triple. Now, for a lot of, for not only me, but maybe a lot of you, that's never going to be the case. But the odds are much more in your favor, so it's actually equally important how you take it down. You want to capitalize when you find a base that's good for your army. So we're seeing Tom here come in with the Sui for the Town Hall. The standard Sui that you see with Sui Lalu on box spaces. The Queen for the Town Hall, King for like a scatter / hero comp over here. So him there, Queen there, and the RC in between. But you're not going to see him do this every time today. Now on this base, I'm actually going to pause this for a second. On this base, you see him Lalu this way. Now you will actually see a lot of people Lalu like this. So why has he chosen this way? Obviously, I can't read his mind, but if a few of the things to look at is one, there is no sweeper facing the Lalu this way, whereas the one sweeper that's up right over here would be facing the direction that if you Lalu this way. So that's one thing to consider. Two, it's so much easier to kill this defensive RC with headhunters, because you're going to warden pretty early. And the other main thing to take into account is, right, if you're going to Lalu from this way, generally what you're going to see people do is a Stone Slammer into the core, like this, because you want it to go in. But look at this, there's 2 singles here that are going to sit on the Stone Slammer. So your Stone Slammer is really not going to cut much of the core out. Now, if you get like this single down here with the Sui, then I think it's potentially worth considering Lalu in this way, because you know your Stone Slammer is just going to wreck through the core. Even if there's one single, you can freeze it and the Eagle. But when there's 2 singles, your Stone Slammer is really not going to get much. Sorry to keep you all waiting there, but just figured it was important. But look how he Lalus this. It's actually interesting. So he's using the Stone Slammer. The Stone Slammer has a big job. It's got to try and get the single and all of these builder huts. We rage straight on top of the scatter and the single. Everything's kind of coming together. We pop the water. Look at this, by the way. We've had a bunch of loons come in on the bottom of the screen, and they're funneling straight into the core. Look at this. We have all our loons in the prime position on the base. Now we're adding a clone in as well. It's just about that defensive... No, it's a defensive king. It doesn't matter. I thought it was the defensive RC for a second. Look at how wrecked this is. It all happens so quickly. Honestly, even if I had it on 0.5 speed, I couldn't analyze everything that's going on. But a few things to notice. One, the Stone Slammer cleared all the trashy buildings here that normally hold all the red bombs and the NATO. Two, the warden went straight through here with the Lalu and even caught a few of the loons that were in the Slammer. And lastly, he had like at least 1 hound and a few balloons with just 1 haste to clear this entire side of the funnel, and that means the loons have to go into the core. It also means the hounds have to go across the core. They pull up every red bomb that's there, and it's a GG. So it was a really well-timed Lalu. Obviously, you know, he's probably hit this base a few times, so he knows how to take it down, but it's just something else to watch an expert do his thing. Spoiler alert for this attack. This Lalu he does is insane. So you see the wall break has come in for the Queen. I'm sure you heard it. I probably zoomed in with the editing on my face there, so I'm sorry, missed the wall break, but just targeted that outside wall there. Really easy Sui for the Town Hall on this base. Basically on a box base, if you can solo your Queen for the Town Hall, it's just worth Suing the Town Hall generally. It's on those box bases, and you might see a few of them at the end of this video, where it's really tough to Sui the Town Hall, that you're going to see him Sui the back end. We'll learn a thing or two there. Queen's setting a really nice funnel here. Now, we don't have an invis, so the Queen's she's just going to die, and that's okay. That's okay. She's got all the value she can. King and RC coming in here. Early poison. Now, we're only bringing 1 poison with this army, rather than 2, so we just got to use it on the headhunters, take that down. Hopefully the RC and the King get rid of the scatter, and they do. But look, we got good value from the Sui, but we didn't get a sweeper. We didn't get one of the 4 air bows in the core. Look at that disgusting core. Oh, we didn't get an Inferno, and we've got a back-end Queen. So we're going to come in with the Lalo. I'm going to be honest. Aside from, like, I think if this multi was down, Laloing the other way would make sense. But if you can get Stone Slammer value like this straight onto a multi, it just makes sense to Lalo this way. Haste spells coming in. We've actually used all our haste spells here. He's trying to get this Lalo going. But it's not really working on the left side. That haste spell being swagged up until this point. But look at that Warden ability. Absolutely cracked. Wardens and Rages across the core. And then as we come out of the Warden, we clone and Skelly with the Headhunter to kill the bat. Actually, not even Headhunter. We're just Skelly. And the double Skelly kills the defensive Queen. Oof. Feels bad for her. We've got 1 freeze left here, and that's going to be used for the Dragon Rider on the single. And look at how many balloons he has up. That was not an easy Lalo. I'm sure most Lalos are probably easier if you're as cracked as this guy, but genuinely, this was not an easy Lalo. That Stone Slammer really struggled, but the early haste is what I like into the Rage. You just got to get through the base as quickly as possible some of the time before the base takes you down. And double Skelly on the back-end Queen. She was never standing a chance. Yeah, we can speed through this. Nicely done from Tom there. This is a pretty toxic base, but it's always nice on a box when you can Sui the Town Hall easily. It's generally nicer for Sui Lalo. Maybe some of the next bases we see, where he's not Suing the Town Hall, will be more toxic for Sui Lalo. You see that Town Hall compartment? Good luck Suiing it. There's just no way. Look at it. There's too much damage. You can't get a really nice wall break. Like, maybe if you put all 3 heroes into it, you would get the Town Hall. But think of that, right? Like, you're just going to leave yourself terrible pathing throughout the base. We'll watch the Sui, but, like, I think the best you could get with the Sui is like this. And, like, how are you going to Lalo that? You have 2 sweepers up for the Lalo. So, generally, what we're going to see is when people can't Sui the Town Hall, they Sui the back end of the base, and they go for the Eagle. Like we talked about on ring bases in the video yesterday, if you can't get the Town Hall, go for the Eagle. Why not? Seriously powerful defense. Also, what's helpful on the back end is the CC, is so far away, so we can actually get a good chunk of base down here. That's just as important as anything, honestly, with Sui Lalo. It isn't just about the quality of defenses. It's sometimes about just getting a lot of the base down so that you have a nice path for your Lalo. See, because he's got so much of the base down, he has a much nicer path, whereas if he got like 1 building down, obviously going to struggle. I don't know what that poison was. Works out anyway. And we have the Stone Slammer here, and you can see how much this Stone Slammer can get here. Multi, scatters, they just don't do a lot to Stone Slammers. Even a sweeper is like, slows it down, but isn't insane. So we have a nice wide spread of balloons here. We freeze the airbow and the multi. The Town Hall's not active yet, so that's fine. Now look at this. This base is really tough because it's almost impossible to get a Lava Hound to go behind the Town Hall. And that means when this NATO pops on the Town Hall, this base can get extremely difficult. We pop the Warden. Nicely done there. We have the Dragon Rider in the core. We haste out. Sweeper hits. And look at that. That sweeper nearly costs us. We actually, I don't know if you guys saw that. The Ice Hound was the first thing in the clone spell, but Ice Hound has actually too much camp space. It can't be cloned. The Loon was the second thing in there, so I believe we get a cloned Balloon, or did we get a cloned Lava Hound? Guys, I can't, yeah, we got a cloned Lava Hound. Do we have like 2 Lava Hounds? Maybe 3 Lava Hounds up? This is craziness. Yeah, we had 3 Lava Hounds up. How often do you see that? This guy nearly finished with more Lava Hounds than he started. The Ice Hound goes. We have 2 other Hounds. My word. Shows how crushed this base was, though. The fact that he didn't need that clone spell. He got a Lava Hound from it, for which he didn't need tanking anyway. Lava Hound and 1 balloon by the look of it, but absolutely crushed. Just, the Hounds do so much tanking, and as long as you're freezing and raging and cloning well, I mean, what's going to stop this guy? I genuinely don't know at this point. I think his average last season was above 300 with Sui Lalo. Now, this is a bit of a different one. You probably could Sui the Town Hall, right? But yet again, if you Sui the Town Hall, the pathing's a little wonky. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at like the main defenses of the base, it's like something like this, right? Obviously, we're cutting out a few defenses, but it's that. So if you Sui this, think of what's left. It's just one big square, which is not really what you want. Whereas if we Sui, let's say we get something like this. It is kind of a big square. Still, I know it seems like a bit pedantic, but it's not quite. It's not quite a square. I've done a horrible job explaining that. I'm going to admit that. Whenever we finally release the Lalo guide, I will be more prepared than that. But it is nicer here. And this is another reason why. Because, oh, maybe this is an even better reason. Look at this. We get this Sui, right? And we're still kind of left with a block. But we can use the Stone Slammer to get rid of this scatter. Whereas if we Sui the tower, we can't guarantee as much that we get a nice path for our Stone Slammer. There we go. We got it, chat. Also, you're not getting any defensive air hero value when you Sui the tunnel, whereas here we got the defensive RC down. And look at this Stone Slammer. Look at it. It's going to go straight to the core of the base here. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, that first Hound pops. He would have wanted that first Hound to live so that it ran across the Town Hall. Would have been absolutely crushed if he got that. But now we have to deal with the NATO behind the Town Hall. It's a perfect Warden. The Rage has been used. Look at this. Double Skelly, one Balloon, Haste. And we get the cloned skeletons. Oh, okay. We've kind of done him dirty there. I don't know why the balloons didn't clone it. Looked like they were in range. But hey, I mean, the balloons didn't need the help. The skeletons needed the help. They got rid of that queen really easily. That was funny. Chat, you know you're good at Sui Lalo when you can swag 3 spell space pretty consistently. Now, obviously when you get the clone spell right, it's worth way more than 3 space. It can basically bring a dead attack back to life. But there are going to be times when you don't get any value from it. That's just the nature of a clone spell. But how cool is it watching like 30 skeletons run after the defensive queen? He has like 15 balloons up. Absolutely crushed. Now, that's the last of the box spaces I've got for you today, unfortunately. Would love to see a few more. But we have got one last attack, and it's on Cadiel. Poor Cadiel. You don't want to get hit by this guy. It's just not going to work out. Now, this is an anti-3. We actually haven't seen him hit an anti-3 yet. We also haven't seen a diamond. But diamonds aren't that popular in High Legends. I can tell you all that. Which I'm pretty happy with. I don't love hitting them. But yeah, diamonds not that popular. Rings and boxes is absolutely the meta at the moment. But you're actually getting quite a few anti-3s. It's probably the 3rd most common style of base. It is ahead of teasers and diamonds at the moment. So how do you take it down? Well, it's kind of the simplest one for Sui Lalo in a way. Generally, you want to go for the Town Hall. The only time you don't want to go for the Town Hall is if either you can't Sui it, or the other real approach you see people do is go for the Eagle on the back end and a Scatter. If you can get like an Eagle, Scatter, and an Air hero, so like Eagle with your Queen, King, and RC to get a Scatter and enemy hero, then a lot of the time it's worth it. Especially if you can get Stone Slammer pathing to the core. But generally, if you're struggling for the plan, just Sui the Town Hall. It's like the most surefire way to guarantee a triple. RC takes down the Scatter, and I mean, it doesn't look like insane value, but I'm going to tell you all it is. He's gotten so much of the base down there. So we have the Hound tank for the Slammer once again. Unfortunately, the Slammer eats a Sam. And you can tell what the plan is for the Slammer here. I mean, look at this. He's recognized the beautiful pathing here with the ground bow. All he has to do is get this down. I'm pretty sure the Stone Slammer would go to the multi anyway, but it's worth just getting the Eagle down just to be sure. And yeah, Lalo's looking nice. We have the Ice Hound tanking for the Scatter beautifully. And I think we're going to Warden through this multi. Look at that. Now, unfortunately, we Warden when so many of their defenses are frozen anyway. It's not ideal, but what can you do about it? You can't really blame the guy for just being too good at the game that he has to Warden when his Ice Hound pops. And look at this. There's so many balloons up. The clone just comes in so clutch on the back end. There is a defensive CC Hound up. We've actually seen that for most of the attacks in these videos. The defensive CC Hound's a bit of a pain. He doesn't have a poison for it. But clearly it's not doing too much to affect the attacks because we've seen 10 triples across these two videos. Let me know in the comments below. Did you enjoy this more like analytical look at Sui Lalo? Obviously not casting them live. I would love to cast this guy live. We tried. He isn't interested at this point, but maybe one day we can change his mind. But for now, I recommend you all go to his YouTube channel and subscribe. I will link him in the description below. If you want to get better at Sui Lalo, he and Ralo are probably the two best YouTube channels to look at. Outside of mine, obviously, where you can see a wide variety of content. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and maybe I'll see you tomorrow.